can tell everybody, go ahead and tell everybody, I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to another episode of Live in 5, episode number 52. We are nearing our 1-year anniversary as a podcast over here. And before we get to our special today, the Live in 5 Player Prize Awards, well, we always do it over here. We snap it around and we plug in our YouTube page. Folks, again, please go over to @LiveIn5 2024 to subscribe to that today and like that. Comment on all of our videos. All of our shorts are on there. All of our interviews are on there. All of our shows, everything that we upload to not only Apple, Spotify, and our Instagram and Twitter pages, well, it's all on YouTube. And to drive this thing up and keep going up and up and up, baby, we need you to go like that, subscribe now. I think we're closing in on 2,000 subs, so that's a pretty good start for almost a year into this thing. But again, a very, very special episode today. I think that people will really like this one, Azo. The Live in 5 Player Prizes. We got some good awards. The boys got into the weeds of things, kind of trying to, throw a different spin on not only what the ESPYs does, but just make it our own thing. So hopefully the people will really like that today. Again, we're always brought to you by Mini Movers and Butter Golf. Mini Movers is the official moving company of Live in 5. Again, as I always say, if you need something moved, you need some shit packed, well, give the fellas over at Mini Movers a call today. Go over to their website, minimovers.com, and on Instagram and X, that is at the Mini Movers. So go check them out, talk to the captain, get a free quote today, and see if it makes sense. I don't know where you're moving, but always this time of year, people are always moving. College students, people leaving college, getting into the real world, or hey, maybe you're divorced. Maybe you're packing your shit, you're leaving your ex-wife's place, and you're saying, you know what? I got to get out of here. Give Gage, Ausmus a call today over at Mini Movers. Get a free quote. Again, always brought to you by Butter Golf. Butter Golf is the official lifestyle and apparel brand over here at Live in 5. We have our new city tee in terms of the tennis tee that just dropped. Azo, did you get your care package? Did you get that new Forks hat yet? Because I sent you a camo one. I know you like that one.
No way. That's huge. It's actually funny. I haven't been down in the mailroom in a little while. Last time I checked, it wasn't there, but it might be down there right now.
Okay, that would be huge. Yeah, I was just wondering because I sent you a few other items. You ordered that city tee as you always do. You're a paying customer, a happy paying customer that I really appreciate. And we appreciate over at Butter Golf. So yeah, I sent that over to you. You'll have to check it out, see what you think. We got some couple more items in there. Do you start repping those? So folks, again, we have our new US Open inspired tee. That is the City Open Butter Tennis. A little spin on it. How the hell are you? So go check that out at butter.golf and on Instagram at butter.golf. Folks, our last ad read before we get into the weekend recap and what the hell the boys are up to. I'm reporting live right now from the chin of Madison, Wisconsin. So back in God's country, Azo. But before we get to that, we do have a little ad read from Gladiator Therapeutics. Dr. George, are you tired of dealing with chronic aches and pains or neurological conditions? Gladiator Therapeutics offers a revolutionary solution using quantum physics to improve your health. Our devices use patented technology to emit far infrared light, stimulating cellular processes without heat. This can reduce inflammation, speed up healing, and enhance mobility. Clinical trials show impressive results, including a 400% increase in survivability in stem cells, accelerated wound healing up to 68% faster, and significant improvements in Parkinson's disease models. Wearable 24/7 without power, our devices can be a game changer. Visit www.gladiatortherapeutics.com/contact -DRGM to learn more and start your journey to better health today. Azo, what's shaking? Kevin Bacon, fella, episode number 52. Again, closing in on the 1 year of Live in 5. Before we get to our award show, like we were talking about, hell of a spread of awards to give out. What's up, brother? How you doing? What's going on in the CEO, the day-to-day manager's life over there at Mini Movers, putting out fires, starting them, moving freezers, refrigerators, going across town, packing this, being an Instagram model for the company, for the people. What's up, baby? How we doing?
We're doing well. Yeah, it's a busy time for moving. School's starting up soon here, so everyone wants to get in their home before they put their kids in school, so they're in the right school district. Very busy time for moving right now. So if you're thinking about moving anytime soon, get your prepare well, because there's people calling this week for moves this week and even next week, and it's like, hey man, I'm sorry, but you're way too late. That those weeks filled up about a month ago. So if you need a move, make sure you're prepared, plan ahead, and call ahead, because all the companies around the area right now are all full. So no, yeah, I had a good weekend, Jordo. I don't think it was as good as yours, but it was a good weekend. I went up to Grand Rapids. I had to go to a wedding that my girlfriend or fiance was in, and it was a high risk, high reward wedding. It was outside in the woods in Grand Rapids, up north Minnesota. Why I say it was high risk, because if it rains, this whole event is done. I don't know what happens. Do they cancel it? Because it was not set up for rainfall.
They didn't have any tents or anything. It was just, let's bank on this. Let's add banks on this being sunny.
And there was a tent there, but the ceremony was outside. The drinks were outside. The hangout area was kind of outside, but it was a great night. It ended up being an unbelievable wedding. And Jordo, the guy who got married, he was from Texas, and he had the boys dressed up in cowboy boots and blue jeans.
Had the shit kickers on. Had the blue jeans. Barefoot blue green night. Take the shit kickers off.
It was a hell of a look. It was a hell of a look. Cream colored sport coat, white t-shirt. It was an unbelievable look. I'm thinking about, when I get married, to have the boys wear that, because it was classy. They were ready to party, but they were also there for business. I love that look. But yeah, it was a good weekend, and that's pretty much all I did. I got back and didn't do anything. So it was less eventful than your weekend, which I'm excited to hear.
Ozzo, you went and made the jaunt for this wedding. Obviously, Gabby, your lovely, was in it. Now, you were texting me a little bit during this. I'm pretty sure at one point when you pulled into the lot, you were asked to be a valet boy. Now, I don't know how much you want to get into this, but I just wanted to ask your chin, as we're chopping it up right now as two middle-aged assholes. There was some things that you kind of had to work out the kinks early on, right? Because you ended up very well being just a valet guy at that wedding, just an emergency call up to kind of run back, the elderly.
Yeah, so I got there, and there was quite a bit of a walk from the parking lot to the ceremony and where they had the reception, which was deeper into the woods. So what they had was a couple golf carts bringing people back and forth, and I guess they didn't have enough drivers. So on that day, they kind of asked me if I wanted to drive a golf cart, and I'm like, I'm outside. I'm kind of dressed up in a suit. I forgot my tip jar at home, and I don't really know that many people at this wedding, so I'm gonna have to pass, I think. So it was just it was kind of a different request, but I guess the people will be sort of my family here once I get married to Gabby. So it was just I don't know, Jordo, sometimes I think women kind of, they want to make you included. They feel like you feel like you're important when you're included, which, they're coming from the right area there. It's just, they don't know that, as well as, I'm a bit of an asshole, and I do not need to be included to feel good about myself. I'd actually rather not be included.
I'm going to be all set, and thank you for allowing me to drive these cars. But just that you mentioned that, I'm actually 12 drinks deep, and I can't drive. I've been drinking.
I was excited. I was excited to have a few drinks, and I actually showed up after having a few drinks. So I was like, I don't know if I want that responsibility driving grandmas up and down, when they can smell some beer on my breath. So I'm going to hold out on that one.
Yeah. The next thing you know, you back up into someone that you shouldn't have, and now you're shit-faced, and that's a whole nother story. While being out in the woods in Grand Rapids, doing your, counterpart a favor here, being here, showing face. I'm going to be okay, but Ozzo, yes, the weekend over here was good. I flew into the Chin in Chicago, right into the West Loop where my sister Kylie lives. But before we got there, we were filming a little content, and I want to give a shout out to one of the funnier, iconic legends in the game of hockey, and that guy goes by the name of Garrett Bucky Cheddar Sparks. And who Bucky Cheddar is, that's his DJ and his stage presence name, because he wears a bucket, as in a hockey goalie mask, on stage when he does his sets, because he's a part-time DJ. One year, Ozzo, he actually did Lollapalooza, and he was like like when they sent out the concert list and all the names on it, he was the last name on there, and it was just DJ Bucky Cheds. So all-time guy. He was one of the guys that I actually grew up playing with in Chicago. He was my goalie, my netminder from ages probably. Well, I went to the Mission in Chicago, started making that drive down there, playing for the Mission, a AAA organization down there in the suburbs of Chicago, probably around the age of 10. And I played with Bucky all the way up until U18, so 15, 16 years old. So I played with Bucky the majority of my youth career. And every year, he's a friend of the show, by the way. Shout out to Bucky. Every year, Ozzo, he gets more outrageous. So he's got this long beard now. He's got hair down to his probably like his name bar on a goalie jersey. Mm-hmm. So it's, it's like a chick's hair, right? He basically looks like he would roll into Big Earl's biker bar in the movie Starsky and Hutch. Leather jacket on, probably join a biker gang, smoke darts, whatever, So that's Bucky's look currently. And he's just an all-time guy. So what we ended up doing was he has this garage at his house with sticks from every era of hockey. So he has everything from like those old Mission sticks, the L2, the Yellow Synergy, the Sidecores, the S17s, the SLs, every stick you could imagine, the TPS rubber, all these random just hockey items. He's like a hockey hoarder, a hockey historian where, man, if the Hall of Fame came in there, they could take probably 100 items of all the stuff he has because it's so cool. He has a Ladislav Nagy jersey. He has all these cool, just different weird things that nobody would ever have besides Bucky. He buys them on eBay. He collects them from teammates. He fixes things up. He has goalie pads. So Ozzo, he has this garage at his place. And then he has an office just in the suburb of Chicago, like 5 minutes from his house, with more shit that's all stacked with random just necessities and equipment and memorabilia. It is all time. So we did a day out there just hanging out with Bucky. And then we ended up playing this game that he plays around his neighborhood. Now, mind you, at this point, we're 30, 31, 32. The definition of middle-aged assholes. But the game he came up with is called Hulf. So it's a version of Frisbee golf, but with hockey sticks and roller pucks. So he has a full 18-hole course around his neighborhood that he lives in, residential Chicago, suburban Chicago. And you shoot these hockey pucks at stop signs, at fire hydrants, at random street signs. And it could be a par 3, it could be a par 4, a par 5. I think all in out the door, it's like a par 68. So think about 5 or 6 assholes our age. My sister came out to help us film. Shout out to Kylie. And 2 other videographers are out there. So we're rolling about 7 or 8 deep in a very family-oriented neighborhood. And we're lining the streets, shooting these hockey pucks like 100 yards at a time. And there's people like driving by. There's people who are holding up traffic. There's people walking their family. There's those, those carts off the back of the bike with like 2 or 3 kids in it, the carriages. There's people, walking around, going to a sandbox, going over here. Like, it's just a whole commotion. And you should have seen the looks we were getting. It's like, are you guys, you're not that young, are you? No, we're not. And there was people driving by, like stopping, kind of pulling up close. Because Bucky, I think, at this point, almost has a silver wrench. We'll get to the silver wrench award, but a silver stick in his closet for the amount of golf rounds or Hulf rounds he's played. So they're asking him, the neighbors, how's the round going? What'd you make on 4? Oh,
no way.
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable.
I was going to ask that. What does Buck Ched's neighbors think of his course?
So they get a kick out of it because, again, we're not that young. I mean, we're closer to 40 than we are 20 at this point, and we're still playing Hulf, and we're filming this just documentary and or motion picture. So we ended up playing like 9 or 10 holes of that. I actually got rained out, which was tough, but the rain delay couldn't battle the elements. So we went back into the little shack there, or the
It
garage.
looked like Gretzky's basement almost. It was like I mean, that was a sick spot.
It was a mix of, I think, like what Terry Ryan's garage would be in Newfoundland and Gretzky's basement. And then we just went in there and just Jamaican saunaed it all night and then got out of there and went down to the West Loop. We got out of there because I think if we would have stayed there, I think we would have smoked more than Bob Marley. Let's just put it that way. So we got out of there, but an unbelievable day with Buck. He is all time. And just like what he is as a character and a human, like he deserves to be at the forefront of hockey and just hockey personalities because he is that funny. He's got stories for days. Mm-hmm. He's an unbelievable dude. He actually kind of has a bad rap around him as a person, which I don't get, probably because just the way he presents himself. But he's an all-time guy. And one thing I wanted to mention too, Ozzo, the DNC was in town that weekend, so the far left was just littering the streets of Chicago. Yep. And we were in the West Loop, and that is obviously close to the United Center, about a mile away. If you just walk straight west on Madison, you'll run into it. So as we landed, I fired off just like what I thought to be a joke and a funny tweet, which was, just got wheels down at Chicago Oferta International. The far left is storming Terminal 3 right now like a scene out of Braveheart. I think I just saw Michelle Obama in the men's bathroom outside of B26. And the way I spelled Obama was O''apostrophe B-A-M-A, like Obama. So just like making fun of like a fake Irish accent.
Yeah.
And that Chicago beat writer, Mark Lazarus, the laser, who's an absolute donkey, just whatever, leave it at that. We just mentioned his name, but he like called me transphobic. He said that I was stupid because me thinking the Obamas are Irish. It's like, fella, I spelled it that as a joke, like that was the whole joke. That's what I do. I make jokes. So I quote tweeted his tweet. Me and the Heat Daddy were sitting in the Uber just dying laughing. So I quote tweeted his tweet and I said, "I'm sorry this joke upset you so much, Mark." And I spelled his name M-A-R-C. Was the Irish spelling the kicker? So it's just like, as much as me, just like the keyboard warriors, how upset people get on Twitter when really, man, this whole thing's a joke. And it's hilarious. Like, I'm just trying to lighten the mood. I don't have any skin in the game. I always say that, but I just thought it was hilarious. So I actually had, fast forward to the next day on Saturday, we battled out a matinee at Wrigley. Weather, dealing with rain delays on and off, like 3 or 4 of them. So every time we go back into the concourse level at Wrigley, someone would come up to me because Heat Daddy ended up retweeting that tweet or whatever. So a bunch of people kind of recognized us and they're like, you know what? I fucking love that tweet. Like, cause they hate that guy in Chicago. So it was so funny. It was all time. I think I had 10 or 15 people come up to me or whatever it was. And they were just talking about that tweet. And we were able to battle that out. Actually had dinner that night with Cole Caulfield and Christian Dvorak. Might have heard of him. Cole Caulfield, they call him, Hobie Baker winner.
Pretty good.
Great kid. So did dinner with those guys, kind of shut it down. But the Cubs game was all time. As you know, Wrigley Field, you got to get there, Ozzo. But it is the world's biggest bar. So that was the weekend snap over here, bro. You know how
Unreal.
Chicago is. It's,
oh, man.
Get in and out like a fiddler's elbow, but you're going to get drunk. And that's
that place can go for sure.
Yeah, they throw both ways, confirmed. So what a city. I got my Rodman jersey on right now just for the award show too. But Osdo, should we get into the awards? Should we get into the player prizes? I think we started off at the top after a drum roll, fella.
Let's do it.
I think we let's start at the top. The award we already gave out for the National League, but I think it goes through every league and it's consensus. There was undisputed, undeniable one guy walking away with this award this year, and that was the Chin of the Year. And that is a guy that just has a granite chin, led the league in fights, never got knocked out, stood in there with guys way bigger than him, out of his weight class, throwing both ways, keeping it tucked. That's important. Wearing them when you have to, throwing first, asking questions later. That would be Liam Spicy Tuna O'Brien for this year's not only National League Chin of the Year, but the Chin of the Year in all of sports. So,
yep.
Spicy Tuna, you're going to have to come on to accept your award, but fella, unbelievable job.
Unbelievable. Well done. You're an absolute legend. That might be the most important award, too.
Yeah, and a guy that just, when he went down swinging, went out of his weight class, fought up 2 or 3, did really well against a guy like Ryan Reeves, fought bigger guys, very tough in his own right, but again, made his mark on the league, led the league in PIM. So that is probably, as a man, as a guy that wants to be an alpha, insert himself, and be a nail gun, that is probably the most impressive award of the year. So, Spicy Tuna fella, congratulations. Ozzo, what do we have next?
We got the Wilt Chamberlain Silver Wrench Award. And this is obviously the guy, could have been a girl too, actually, to whoever got down to business the most in the year, got closest to Wilt's 1,000 tucks, I think is the rumor. But there were a lot of guys, that could have won this. I think we had on there Tom Brady, being single, Joe Burrow, Austin Matthews, all these guys, D-Book, Cole Caulfield, these guys are getting down to business. They're all single. But there is one clear winner this year, Jordo, and I don't think this is come as any surprise to anyone, but the winner for the Wilt Chamberlain Silver Wrench Award is Tyreek Hill. Tyreek, congrats.
Tyreek Hill, wow, congratulations. Let's clap it up one time before I get to my reactions. Tyreek Hill takes home the Silver Wrench Award, which is, again, Wilt Chamberlain was rumored to have 20,000 kills. So you kind of divide that up over a 20-year career, 1,000 kills a year. So that's a Silver Wrench Award, kind of like the silver stick they give out in hockey. Ozzo, to have 10 kids and to have 10 kids with 9 different women or 11
and he's
kids,
married,
10 different women, how many notches do you have to get to that point? Because every time you're probably nutting in, but you get away with a few of those. So you got to think a guy like Tyreek Hill, you times that number 10 probably at least by 100, maybe even 200. Like, this guy is doing some serious whacking down in Florida and South Beach.
It's impressive. I don't know how it's possible. I don't know why you'd even want to get to those numbers, but it's something that should be studied and admired, I think.
Yeah, and to do that much whacking, like, you're scheduling your whole day around whacking. It's an addiction at that point. So you have, your masseuse come over, maybe you whack her, then you have some other girl come in. I mean, it's in through the outdoor, as they would say over there on Raspberry Beret in the song that Prince wrote, in through the outdoor, because you're doing some serious shuffling of the deck and you're thinking about whacking just all day, every day, 2 or 3 a day. So Tyreek Hill, keep that wrench dry, fella, or keep it wet, whatever you want to do. You are this year's Silver Wrench Award winner. Wow. Whacking. Okay, Ozzo, we're going to go over to the Celly of the year, and you brought this one to my attention, and I was like, fuck, 100% agree with it. It has to be Kate from the Oilers game when she just flipped her jersey right over her head, tits out, a set of absolute fun bags. I mean, those things were bought and paid for. Not sure what they went for, but I know when she crosses the border, she has to declare those nukes. So that is over $10,000 USD. You have to declare those at the border as a set, a confirmed set. So not only were the titties great, the Celly was unbelievable. She was even interviewed by Playboy after that. Spitting Chicklets brought her on. It was unbelievable, Ozzo, just in the moment, just to go nukes out. And 2 keys here. Didn't have her tie down on because she wanted the jersey to come over her head. And number 2, no bra under her jersey. That's a good Northern Alberta girl when you don't have the following 2 on. Fight strap and bra. You're just ready to talk.
She was I've never seen it. Just tits out for a goal. A goal in an NHL game, just flash them. I mean, it was just incredible.
That's something like a 10-year-old kid does. Steve Ott's kid, remember at the game against St. Louis, against Minnesota? He pulled that stunt out, but you rarely see it from a grown-ass woman, and that's just a good Northern Alberta girl going tits out. So, Kate, I don't know if you're listening. But baby, keep flashing them. And what a set. You are this year's recipient at the Player Prize Awards for Celly of the Year.
Love it. And yeah, I'm gonna take the Nailgun of the Year here, Jordo. And we were going over this. There's plenty of guys who are nails. Obviously, you know, Spicy Tuna's got the chin of the year. But there is one obvious one here, and it's gonna go to Donnie Trump. The guy survived an assassination attempt. He got shot in the ear, and I mean, that is just, you're not going to beat that one. There's no one, there's plenty of other nail guns out there putting in some good numbers, but you're not going to beat him out. So Donnie, congrats on the nail gun of the year.
Say what you want politically. We're not getting into that. If you wear one off the ear and you look at the time like you're protecting the Secret Service, you're that nails. I mean, the guy was on the golf course no less than 48 hours later, striping it at one of his courses down in Florida, gets shot, gets back on stage the following week at the RNC in Milwaukee. I mean, come on. Like, it didn't even faze him. Like, some people, the PTSD, imagine getting in front of a crowd again. The guy was out there 2 or 3 days later, pitching on no day's rest, Ozzo. And he gets out there, and he does it for America, and that is what a nail gun is. Say what you want to say. You can't argue the fact that this guy is fucking nails. So we both agreed on that one. I'll take the next one here. Best hairstyle of the year. Now, there's a lot of good guys that should be in the running for this. You have a guy like Jared Allen, who plays with the old school ABA Flint, Michigan Tropics like afro. Okay, great look. Love that. Nasty. Desert Eagle Morant always has a fresh set of blades in terms of braids. I call those blades, but those are braids. It's always like the two in the back that are just tight with that weave. That is juicy. He's always got a nice look. Sometimes he rocks the rose braids. He's always got it going on. So Desert Eagle Morant, Ryan Hartman. Not a lot of people probably know outside of hockey how good this guy's flow is, but I wanted to give Hartsey just a classic hockey guy flow look. It always looks crispy, always wet. Fellas, rule number 1,000. Never have a dry mop, especially in warm-ups if you going no bucket. Always have that thing with a little LA looks in it. Always have just a little water in that lettuce because you need it looking
need a little shine.
Like you're coming out of the shower. Exactly. But Ozzo, we both agreed on this one. Joey Burrow going without me, Eminem, shady like, coming in, shaving his locks off, his luscious locks that probably got him 500 kills this summer, comes in, meaning all business in a training camp, and he goes the dyed bleach blonde hair like Eminem in the early 2000s. Love that look. Coming into Cincinnati, taking no prisoners, and just looking to fuck it up. So Joey Burrow with that, it skyrocketed him to the best hair or flow of the year.
It did. That was it was the most iconic of the year, I'd say. There's a couple other good competitors, Jordo, but you're coming into an NFL season after an injury and you go full shady on them. Unreal. I can't wait to watch them.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Playing with the house's money at that point, baby. Give me the rock. Let's snap this thing.
All right. So now we've got our next prize of the year here is guest of the year. Now, we enjoyed all of our guests and we love all of them and we thank them for making the time to come talk to us idiots. And there are three that kind of stood out to us, Jordo. I think I agreed on these two. Is Colt Knost was one. Colt was awesome. He obviously commentates on the PGA Tour. He's loved by everyone. I've actually talked to a bunch of people that know him, which I didn't know, and he's just he's an all-time dude. Next was Nate Schmidt. Unbelievable episode. Had some great stories. Schmitty always brings the energy. But
that was a great get by you, Ozzo. He was awesome. Like, he was letting it fly. He had great stories.
Oh man, that guy is just he's all time again. But there was one that you and I both thought was a little outside the box, but we had so much fun doing it. And we thought he would appreciate the win more than any other guest. And that's Ed Cookie Jarvis. This guy, I mean, congrats, Cookie.
A true American hero. I mean, hat off for Cookie. Cookie fella,
Give it
unbelievable.
up. Cookie, that was all time. We can't wait to have you back. Hopefully, before we get you back, you're just pounding some food or something. I know you got you kind of gave it up, but man, that was just unbelievable.
Also, it was like he had those stories written on his hand for years. It literally felt like he was rattling them off, and he very well could have been a teleprompter. Maybe he had a karaoke machine. You know how sometimes those karaoke screens on the iPad just have the list of the song for you, go line by line, because that's literally what it felt like when Ed Cookie Jarvis took the stage at Live in 5 from his humble abode somewhere on Long Island, New York. It was unbelievable. Cookie Jarvis, I've said it once, I'll say it again, is a national treasure. That guy, when I met him at Coney Island, I said, oh my God, we might have something special here. And that's what it was. What a fucking legend. So great pick, I think, by us. And again, as you mentioned, I think he'll appreciate it the most too, winning that. That's going to go a long way with Cookie. So Cookie, if you're listening, fella, you are this year's Player Prizes Guest of the Year. Ozzo, the next one here is the Terry Fox Perseverance Award. Now, a lot of great athletes deal with a lot of different shit, whether it's mentally, whether it's physically, whether it's a mix of both. And the one gal that, I think stood out for us this year was a gymnast out of the USA, and that is Simone Biles. Obviously dealt with her fair share of injuries, not only on the court or on the, what do they call it? I guess, on the floor. On the
floor. Yeah.
Dealt with it all, right? In terms of going through different shit, but mentally as well. Had to step away from gymnastics, competing altogether for a year, and then ultimately rises to the top again over in Paris, puts on a goddamn clinic, actually got a little bit banged up during one of her routines over there as well, and then gutted it out. I don't know if she had a Percocet guy, Toradol. Maybe she was all natural. Probably was, because they do piss test over there. But just battling through it, getting over the hump, and being a champion again inspires everyone. Everybody loves a good comeback story. And that's exactly what Simone Biles brought to the stage, not only for herself, but for the goddamn country. So for this year at the Player Prizes, she is this year's Terry Fox Perseverance Award winner. So Simone, I know you're listening, baby. Keep on, keep strong.
Well done, Simone. Yeah, that was a hell of a performance. Next, we're going to move on to our Jim Leyland Iron Lungs Award. And there was kind of only one that we thought of that stood out, took the cake. It wasn't even close. And that's Charlie Hull for ripping darts on the golf course on the LPGA Tour. Unbelievable stuff. You don't really see this. It's kind of a little uncharacteristic out of a woman. And that's why we had to pick her. I mean, it's just unbelievable stuff. She likes to get that little nicotine rush on the course. I remember they told her she couldn't do it in the Olympics, and she was a little frazzled. So she's the clear winner for this award.
Yep. For the folks and the kids listening who don't know who the famous Jim Leyland is, he's a famous MLB manager that finished up famously with the Detroit Tigers, winning a couple World Series, one, maybe two. Don't quote me on that. But what he was really famous for, Ozzo, was smoking a carton of darts in present-day Major League Baseball in the dugout. So he would just rip heaters right in the dugout. Like, is that legal? No, obviously no smoking. But for the legend and the iron lungs Jim Leyland had, he was grandfathered in well into the 2010 era. So Jim Leyland is the Iron Lung Award. That's kind of the basis of the award. And Chuck Hall took it home. Now, I don't know what she had to do at the Olympics. I don't know if she went nicotine patch. She could have been on the Zins. One time, Ozzo, I want to share a story. I put a nicotine patch. I was telling the story yesterday. I put a nicotine patch on my heart freshman year because I was trying to quit chew. And my God, fella, what a fucking buzz. I've never buzzed like that in my life. And at that time, I was about a can a day of Copenhagen Fine Cut. So I was trying to get off it. I was going cold turkey. I was sweating. I couldn't sleep. I went over to Walgreens. I got about a 50 to 100 milligram nicotine patch, and they say, obviously, use it with caution and care. Put it on your arm or your leg. What did I do? Well, I was that asshole that put it right on my heart, and oh my God, did that hit the fucking jet fuel bloodstream. I was buzzing like a no vacancy sign outside of a Super 8. Holy fuck, fella. Oh my God. So that is one story. If you're trying to quit chew and you want one last buzz, go get a nicotine patch and put on your heart. No, don't do that. Seriously, kids, but it is a funny story. All righty, moving right along to the Ricky Bobby Drive It Like You Stole It. I Want to Go Fast award. And this dates back to July of 2023. A Minnesota Vikings player was pulled over going 140 in a 55. That is Jordan Addison. He was pulled over by MPLS PD outside of, I think, the practice facility, or he was going home, going 140 miles an hour in a 55. So that's the old Ricky Bobby I Want to Go Fast award, the highest ticket for an athlete in the last calendar year. And that is all time. I mean, when he was questioned about it, he said he had a dog emergency. So he dropped that thing in motorsport. I don't know if he was driving a Hellcat or whatever the hell he was driving. But he put that thing in turbo and fucking pitcher 4 on the floor, and it was going 140 in a 55, and ultimately got picked. So he is our Ricky Bobby. I want to go.
That fast. Is so fast.
That is
holy
so fast.
Shit.
He for sure slowed down to 142. What do you think he was actually doing? 180.
That is insane.
What position is that guy, by the way? And is he
wide receiver? He's good. He's good. First round pick. He had a great season last year. I know he just got a little DUI. I think it was for like smoking a little pot in his car. He fell asleep in his driver's seat and got, cops just drove up on him and he was sleeping.
So he's got the double Ricky Bobby. So when, obviously when Reese Bobby put the fake thing of Columbia Bam Bam under the car there, driving it too, and called the cops on him. So he's got both ways. He's got the Dewey and he's got the 140 to 55. That's all time. So he's full on Ricky Bobby.
Oh yeah, he is.
That's great.
All right, we got the next one here. The Oakley Fast Shade Player of the Year. There are a couple. There's obviously a bunch of guys now wearing Oakleys. I think obviously with this podcast, we're a couple Oakley owners. And they are the best shades on the market right now. So the winner of this award is going to be Lamar Jackson. He wears them so nicely. I wanted to, obviously I think JJ Justin Jettis is coming in second place there, but Lamar, he's just bringing so much swag with those sunglasses on, man. I just love it.
Yeah, he's got the Oakley deal too. Big trust. He's always rocking them. You know what? Once he rocks so clean too, Azo, and I want a pair of these. It's just I don't think I want them until I have like 5 or 6 pairs of Oakley Fast Shades. He's got the one with the nose protection on it.
I know.
Now, those ones are so sick.
They're just so nice. I need to get a pair.
Yeah. Why don't you take the next one too, Oz? I'll take the next 2 after that.
Yeah. Okay. I'll get the biggest sports media influence on the year. Now, it was between 2, right? It was between the night. What is it? The nightclub, nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, and then obviously Antonio Brown's Twitter feed, CT ESPN, and we had to give it to Antonio Brown and CT ESPN. He just did incredible work this season. I think it was his second year retired now from football. Just incredible work with his CT ESPN. And yes, he in fact does have CTE.
Yes, he confirmed does have CTE. And CT ESPN is the biggest troll job in all of sports. Obviously, it dates back to Caitlin Clark telling her she has a bush. He's got the cracker of the day. He has the N-word of the day. He has the chink of the day. He has everything. He just is the biggest troll. He always is pointing out or mentioning that Shannon Sharp likes dildos, which is completely not true. I don't think. Again, I don't know, but he just throws it out there. CT ESPN is just constantly creating havoc in the sports world, and it's all time
pissing people off so much.
Nobody is safe at CT ESPN. If you don't work for CT ESPN, you are not safe. And I think the only person working for CT ESPN is Antonio Brown. I mean, he's coming after Giselle. He's coming after he wants all the smoke all the time. So again, the biggest influence in sports media right now is CT ESPN. So a couple clicks for AB, fella. Keep it going while you have the last couple brain cells in you. Okay, moving right along to the Ric Flair Drip Award. This award at the Player Prizes is given out to the player that demonstrates the best drip off the field, off the court, off the ice for the entire calendar season. Now, there's a lot of guys that get it done. In hockey, you have Poppy 34. You have Willie Stiles. You have little Jizzy Jack Hughes. You have some of these guys that are starting to swag out. You have, obviously, in the NBA, a plethora of players. But one guy that I think stands out, and he does play in the association, is D-Book, Devin Booker. Now, it's not over-the-top style. He's got a mix of Carhartt, the baggy jeans. He can still go designer with it. He's big into the old-school cars, driving those to the games, leaning back like a Cholo, sitting on blades like a Monte Carlo, old Buicks. And I just think he's got the best swag. I mean, he was walking in to the Olympic tryout or the Olympic just kind of camp, the training camp in Vegas. He had this nasty like tree camo custom USA basketball shirt. During practice, he was rocking the winter beanie, the toque, as the Canadians call him. Like, this guy is just so cool. Obviously, he's a disciple of Kobe, and he just has that clean, just young OG swag to him where he's not trying too hard, Ozzo, but it's so fucking mint at the same time, and he just looks like a certified G.
He is. That's what he is. I mean, that guy, it's about as cool as you can get, is Devin Booker.
Yeah, and light skin too. Like, chicks just love that guy. Like, he's one guy that easily was up for the Silver Wrench Award and easily probably could have won it, but he's sneaky. He's that Michael Jackson smooth criminal getting it done, not flaunting it out there, just getting it done. I mean, even biking away from that after party after they won the gold, like just in Paris. He's just a swaggy dude. So this year's Ric Flair Drip Award winner goes to D-Book. The following award I'm going to give it out to is the Cinnabon Sticky Mitts Award winner. This is obviously for the nastiest mitts, those sticky mitts, a guy that just has hands of a priest, hands of a rapist. I don't want to get too criminal here, but just sick hands that get it done. It could be McDavid. It could be a guy back in the day like Allen Iverson. It just someone with just nasty paws. It could be a woman as well. We're not discriminating over here, but I think it was pretty clear this guy got back on top of his game and reminded us all how fucking good he was, how nasty, how sticky his mitts were, how good his luggage was with the pill, the rock. And that is Kyrie Irving. I mean, what this guy did in Dallas this year brought back the handles of 2016, 2015 Cleveland Cavalier ball. I mean, he had it on a string. He was the best point guard in terms of a handle, in terms of a package, a dribble package that we saw all year, that we've seen all time. And we had Gino Crandall on, and he said it's a no-brainer. This guy is the best handle of all time. So, Ozzo, this year's Sticky Mitts Cinnabon Award winner goes to Kyrie Swerving.
Uncle Drew, welcome back, fella. Yeah, that was an unbelievable year he put together. That guy is so smooth with it. It's unbelievable.
Smoothie Douglas.
How fun would basketball be if you had those hands?
I mean, the way he can put guys on rollerblades is just insane. It's like, it doesn't make sense because the best defender on the other team is always guarding Uncle Drew. That's the craziest thing. The guy with the best footwork, the guy with the best, sticky glove, Gary Payton-like, the glove. On D, and he's putting that guy, he's getting him in an area where he knows he's going to slip by him. He knows we can hit up a spot up, a fadeaway, or even just cross him up so hard that he falls on his own ass. It's just, Uncle Drew was back. So it's just good to see, and he is this year's Nasty Sticky Mitts Award winner.
All right. What do we got next here, Jordo? We got, the best chirp of the year. The best chirp of the year, there were two that we kind of thought about. The first one, A-Raj calling, who did he call? Travis
Kelce, after he took the bag from Pfizer.
Okay, Mr. Pfizer.
Yeah, great chirp.
And then I believe it was Matt Martin, correct, Jordo, who said this?
Yep.
Matt Martin goes, to Drew Miller, go dye your fucking hair.
Yeah, that is just like, it wasn't this year, obviously, but it's just an all-time chirp of Matt Martin coming up back in the day. And this is actually what the award is named after. It's the Drew Miller Go Dye Your Fucking Hair Award. It's just all time because at the time, Drew Miller was like 30 years old. He was like my age, but he had so much salt with his pepper that he actually had like totally gray hair.
Yeah, he had gray hair at like 20 years old.
Yes. So Matt Martin was getting chirped by Drew Miller. Drew Miller was saying, go back to the fucking minors. You're a bum. You stink. And his last straw, while they were chirping at the bench and kind of jabbing at each other, Matty Martin just looks at him and goes, go dye your fucking hair, Drew. It's just all time. Like, that's such a to the core chirp. Oh, my God.
Yeah, sorry, I butchered that one. Okay, Aaron Rodgers won with Mr. Pfizer, and the award is named after Matt Martin.
Yes.
Drew Miller, go dye.
Yes, all time.
It's all time.
It's so good. But going back to just the Mr. Pfizer, it's so good because Aaron Rodgers is so subtle, and you know what I mean? He's always in the mix in terms of kind of like the bad boy now. You know, he's kind of like that Novak Djokovic kind of aura around him where nobody really likes him, but everyone likes him at the same time. And that chirp, you know, just taking the bag as Kelsey did from Pfizer, getting the jab in his ass every other week. He just goes right at him and says, Mr. Pfizer, like, okay, Mr. Pfizer. It's just so good. So that was the Drew Miller Go Dye Your Fucking Hair Award for the chirp of the year. We gave that to Aaron Rodgers, the GOAT, Mr. Pfizer. Ozzo, the next one was your award that you came up with yourself, among others in this list. But I want you to give this one out. What is the Kenny Rodgers Gambler of the Year award, my friend?
The Kenny Rodgers Gambler of the Year, there were a few that stood out. One was obviously Jonte Porter of the Toronto Raptors, who cashed in on his unders on the game. So he was betting on himself to play terribly. So well done there. He probably cashed in on those. That's good gambling. But there were two winners here. The first one, Dave Portnoy, he won a ton of parlays, I think, on Michigan football, Scotty Scheffler winning the Masters. I believe he bet on, gosh, what was the other big one? I think Boston Celtics winning. He won a ton of money. And then the second, it's a 1A, 1B type award here. But the second one is going to be Shane Pinto's buddy for placing his bets under Shane Pinto's account while he's playing in the NHL and getting him suspended. So well done there, gambling to Portnoy and Shane Pinto's buddy.
Shane Pinto's parlay with his buddy and Dave Portnoy, who cashed in on, it seemed like every Scotty Scheffler event, the Final Four, the Super Bowl. I mean, he had the whole spread. We're talking full butt cheeks under the name of Mike Honcho for Dave Portnoy. And you got to give respect where respect is due. Pinto's buddy, that a boy. Anyways, moving right along to our next award, Ozzo. That is the Ralph Cox Lip Luggage of the Year award. That goes to the guy with the best duster, sporting the best muzzy, sporting the best lip luggage in all of sports. And I might be a little bit Lenny biased, if you will, just because of the most recent news from this guy. Not only was he named the starting quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, but he dropped a highlight package montage video to the song Higher by Creed, sporting a unbelievable Kenny Powers-like mullet with a half handlebar muzzy. And that goes to a guy, a good old country boy, that travels in the offseason via a van, nothing but a chin, a duster, a muzzy, and a six-pack of condoms. That is Gardner Minshew as this year's recipient of the Ralph Cox Lip Luggage Award winner. Couple guys right there. I mean, Fluff Cowan still getting it done on the bag on the Champions Tour, still grinding it out as a caddy, has had a duster for 60-odd years. Honorable mention, Kerry Eads, who we had on the show. His commitment,
always up there.
Duster, he's got to be right there. Ozzo, I know there's one guy you wanted to mention as well.
You got to mention Paul Skeens nowadays, played for LSU, just stepped into the majors this year, dating Livy Dunn from LSU. Unbelievable duster on the guy. He's up for the Cy Young Award. Just a stud. I saw a picture with him without a muzzy, and that's how you know these guys are, up for this award. When you see them without a muzzy and they look terrible, but then they got the muzzy and they look unbelievable, that's how you know they're up for this award, because they look better with some lip luggage there.
Yes. There's often talked about, rarely achieved. There's guys that can do the lip luggage and there's guys that can't. And the guys that can't, well, why are you doing it? Someone tell you, but the guys that can usually stick it out for the long haul. So Gardner, I hope you never shave that thing off. Going to our next award, Ozzo, I'll take this one before we get into the Lifetime Achievement. I want you to announce that one.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Chris Kyle Sniper of the Year Award, and it's hard to argue this one. It goes to a guy named Austin Matthews, who just recently got named as the Toronto Maple Leafs captain, first ever American-born captain for the Buds up there. So Austin Matthews, 69 goals last year. If healthy this year, I think he can do 80, skating with him a little bit in the desert this summer. Oh, my God. He can score any way you want. It's unbelievable. He's like LeBron in his prime. It's fucking mid-range. It's one-timer. It's deke. It's backhand. It's off the skate, back on. It's a wrister, clean from the top of the circle.
You can put the puck in the net any way possible when you got 69 tucks in the National League.
I mean,
that is insane.
It's rock star zone. It's behind the net. It's Michigan. It's just any way you want. It's actually insane. I told you this story the other week, but we were playing a 3-on-3 or a 4-on-4 match, and we played a best of 3. So it was me, Matthews, Keller, and Fisher on a team as our 4. We were playing against TNT Thompson, his brother, Josh Mahura, who's on Florida, and that nailgun fighter from Ottawa that just got traded to Boston, like Castlereck or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The scores of the game were 3-0, 3-1, 3-1, 3-0. So 12 total goals for our side. Austin Matthews had 10. I mean, and he's playing alongside Clayton Keller. Like, it's just insane. So that guy is this year's recipient at the Player Prize Awards of the Chris Kyle Sniper of the Year.
I love it. All right, now we got the Lifetime Achievement Award, and now obviously every year there's some candidates here that you could think about, but one came to our mind, Jordo, and that will be 72-year-old Bill Belichick, former head coach of the New England Patriots. This guy deserves the award. He retires from football, and what does he do? He goes and finds himself a 24-year-old girlfriend named Jordan Hudson. Now, I can't imagine these two are talking about much when they're hanging out, but that is exactly what you want when you're a 72-year-old divorced. I don't know if he's divorced. I think he is, and now retired, not coaching football. You don't need someone you're going to talk to. You just need someone, obviously went out and found himself a 24-year-old, something he probably couldn't do his whole career because he was just too busy thinking about football. So unbelievable job, Bill. He stays winning even when he's not coaching football.
Let me tell you about the Great Depression. Let me tell you about World War II. Bend over and I'll show you all 50 states, Jordan, because that is exactly what William Belichick is doing. He is doing a little bit of whacking, probably on those blue diamonds, Ozzo. And good for Bill. He stays winning. Anytime a 72-year-old can educate one of our youth products, it is always good to see. And who knows what they're talking about? Maybe she's learning a lot from a 72-year-old veteran head coach, maybe about running the ball up the cock, maybe about taking it outside, maybe a play action, maybe about pump faking. I don't know. But like you said, he stays winning, and he is this year's Player Prize Lifetime Achievement winner, award winner. Wow. Bill Belichick, keep whacking, fella. Ozzo, moving on to the jersey swap of the year. And that is obviously what has kind of gone on the last 3 or 4 or 5 years now, where players from each sides, a lot of time, after a game, after a match, like to swap jerseys. You take mine, I take yours. It happens even when you're playing beer pong. The respect for game on game is at a level where I want that guy's jersey. I want his tarp. And I want to hang it on my wall. because you know what? As a willing combatant that just went chin on chin with you, well, I had that much respect for you. This year's jersey swap of the year comes out of the NBA and the association. It features Toronto Raptors player, first-year pro Grady Dick, a.k.a. Grady Wrench, and the Orlando Magic shooting guard, Anthony Black. And what they did at half court after a match in Orlando was truly amazing and well calculated. Grady Dick was on the right side. Who was on the left? Because you read left to right, Anthony Black. Folks, put that together. That is Black Dick. And they got a picture for all of the NBA media and fans to see. So that is this year's jersey swap of the year. Fellas, unbelievable. What a laugh. If you can't laugh at that, then fuck you.
Yeah, that's Jordan. Well done thinking of that one. Unbelievable stuff. Jersey swap of the year. I can't believe they actually did it and took a picture. That is just so funny.
Oh, it's all time. I mean, just that you can't make that up. It's too good to be true.
It's funny because they're like the one guy's just white as hell.
He's got orange hair. He's so white.
Yeah. All right, we're moving on to the male athlete of the year, and I thought this one also, Jordan, was a bit of a landslide. And the winner of this award is going to be Scotty Scheffler. 7 wins on the year, a Masters jacket, a green jacket, a gold medal, went to jail, had his first kid. This guy, I mean, I forgot how much he made this season from golf. I know they're still going with the FedEx Cup here, but
how's the caddy?
My Lord, I think the caddy finished like top 10 in the PGA Tour. You know, it's just insane how much they're paying these guys now. I think he's making close to what, maybe even more than what some of these NBA guys are making per year. So great to see Scotty. Well done, Scotty. Just an absolute dominant year by you.
Yeah, Scotty Scheffler not only went to jail, had a fuck trophy, won the Masters, won the Olympics. I mean, he's probably going to win the Players. He's probably going to win the FedEx in East Lake in a couple weeks. I mean, the guy has been doing some thumping, not only on the course, but off the course with his beloved Meredith. So that's cool to see. I mean, the Scotty Scheffler shuffle, it's getting better as the years are going here. He's figuring it out. That guy could putt every week. He would legit win every single PGA Tour event. So that, I think, was a no-buzz brainer in terms of the male athlete of the year. Moving on to the female athlete of the year. Now, there could have been a few picks. Obviously, we mentioned Simone Biles. Some of these other ladies had some really good years, but it's tough to argue just the impact and just the cultural shift on the game of women's basketball Caitlin Clark has had. It's truly unbelievable, Ozzo. These women are now flying private on select trips in the WNBA. Endorsement deals are going through the roof, and just the overall attention on the women's game now from what Caitlin Clark did her senior year at Iowa now into the WNBA is truly remarkable and so cool to see. So it's so cool when you have that it factor, and you can do it in a lot of different ways and impact people in many ways. And whether it's your swag on the court, off, the way you play the game, what you do in the community, but she's finding her own lane, and it's just cool to see as basically a brand what she is and how cool the movement towards women's basketball is. I mean, women's basketball right now is cool again. It was never cool. Let's be honest. No one ever watched it. Lisa Leslie, you always knew she made about $100,000, and that was it. Did I watch any other games? No. Did I watch Lisa Leslie? No, I didn't. But you know what? I found myself tuning in to some of these WNBA games, especially the Indiana team, and they've been in Phoenix a couple times, and I've thought about going. I've just been a little busy. But if Caitlin Clark can will her team in Indiana into the playoffs and make some noise, it's just so cool to see, and it's just unfortunate she was left off that Olympic team. But you know what? It doesn't fucking matter over here at the Player Prizes because we are a Players podcast, and she is this year's recipient of the Female athlete of the year, also.
I honestly think she's the most influential athlete to her sport of all time. And, it's between her and maybe Tiger Woods with golf when he was coming up, or Michael Jordan in basketball. But she might be number one. I mean, one of her stats, Jordo, like, I don't know if you've seen like the merchandise, the ticket sales, they're all up like 1,000% throughout the entire league, basically. And here's like the craziest stat, Jordo, from Caitlin Clark is her games have accounted for over a third of the WNBA's entire TV ad revenue so far. Over a third.
That's just absurd.
It's like some of these numbers, they're like Barry Bonds numbers. It's like it doesn't make sense.
She's just instilled herself not only into women's basketball culture, but like, again, basketball culture and just American culture. Like, she's legit an icon. It's crazy, man. It's unbelievable. It's so cool. And the fact that they left her off that team is
it's the craziest. Asinine. It's the craziest decision I've ever, like, you have the most influential athlete in any sport, male or female, ever, and you're leaving her off the Olympic team. Like, I just, like, it doesn't make sense.
How dumb from a business standpoint that is. Just the amount of
it's even dumber from a business standpoint. It's the dumbest thing ever.
Sales, the amount of views you would have gotten more from the Olympics.
Even just if crazy. But the thing is, like, even if you like take away her name and she's not Caitlin Clark, she's no one, she's good enough to be on that team. So
she should be starting. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
She's a gamer. So she is our female athlete of the year. This one is kind of just an all-time kind of award. I kind of threw together just because I'm stupid and I'm this guy. So this is the Magic City Wings and Thighs All Strip Club Team All-Time Award, Azo. And what I gathered was at my shooting guard, I have Desert Eagle Morant, who famously made it rain at Shotgun Willie's outside of Denver a couple times. At the point guard, the true point god is Lou Magic City Williams, who famously has his own booth that has plexiglass, and I believe it's now bulletproof glass at Magic City. It's called the Lou Williams booth. He also has his own wing sauce at Magic City. He famously, Sweet Lou, left the bubble, said he had a family emergency, I guess attended some sort of funeral, and found himself at Magic City that night, making it rain, enjoying wings and thighs, and then went back to the bubble and had to quarantine for like another 2 weeks or a week or whatever it was. So obviously he is my point god. James Harden, aka James Harden. Tough to argue there. I'm going to put him at the 3, even though he's a point. But we're going to put him at the 3 just for this sake. And, it's rumored and known, it's known knowledge that every city that has the best strip clubs will Harden the next night usually hits his under in terms of points. So James Harden, obviously playing the 3. I mean, at my 5, I'm wearing the jersey right now, folks, is Dennis Rodman. I mean, that guy, the midseason Vegas trips, the amount of strip clubs, Carmen Electra, tucking anything that moves. I mean, the worm with that hair, you never knew if he's going to show up to the game, where he was. You couldn't get a hold of him. He was always at the club, strip club, or probably in, a penthouse suite in Vegas with a bunch of hookers and some Colombian Bam Bam and God knows what else. So Dennis Rodman, the 91 car, obviously on that team. And my last guy, he's actually not an association player, but he's going to come in and make it rain. That is Adam Pac-Man Jones, who famously got in a gunfight outside of a strip club and still played in the NFL. So Adam Pac-Man Jones, you know what? You defied all the odds and you snuck yourself into this all strip club team. So that is Desert Eagle Morant, Lou, Magic City Williams, James Harden, Dennis the Worm Rodman, and Adam Pac-Man Jones rounding out the all strip club team, Azo.
Unbelievable squad there. Those guys could win some games. I mean, they put together some good numbers.
That is a team that you could take into Rucker Park and probably win a summer league with. No problem at any age. Right now, when they're 50, 60, 20, whatever it is, that strip club team, I mean, imagine those guys walking in. What is each booth spending, by the way? I mean, it's probably north of $150K per booth.
Those chicks got to be so pumped when those guys walk in, eh? Like they're just like, let's
They
go.
are
Like, I
walking
don't
in
have to
with
work for a month now.
They're walking in with the Louis trunk just full of wands, you know?
Oh yeah.
Unbelievable. So
Unreal. All right. Should we do the quote of the year, Jordo?
yeah, let's do the quote of the year.
Quote of the year, Jordo. I want you to say this one because you're better at the Shannon Sharp, but it's Shannon Sharp's quote. That's all.
It is. It comes from Nightcap, and for the folks that don't watch Nightcap, and if you're not even an NBA or an NFL or a Shannon Sharp or a Chad Ochocinco guy, I don't care, because this is the best podcast out there, and that's saying from a couple of guys that run a podcast. I like our podcast. Nothing touches Nightcap. So the quote of the year comes from Shannon Sharp. And the way he talks, he's got that old Southern backwood Georgia twang. And he was talking about women. He was talking about what he could provide for them. And this quote was, the quote of the year was, and I'm going to give you a little Shannon Sharp accent here too, is how you like your eggs, scrambled or fertilized, because I can do both. So that is an all-time quote, because not only can he make you that bed and breakfast, well, he can make something else happen in that bed after breakfast. So that is unbelievable. How you like your eggs, scrambled or fertilized, because I can do both. So that is the Don Cherry quote of the year. And Don Cherry famously, after a Bruins game as a coach, was interviewed and said, if my aunt had nuts, well, she'd be my uncle. So that is kind of what that is inspired by, is Don Cherry grapes, an absolute beauty, rock'em sock'em guys. So Shannon Sharp is taking home the Don Cherry quote of the year. And that's just unbelievable, Azo. The next one I wanted to tee up for you was the smoke of the year. Who do we have as the hottest chick that you had written down that we're going to give away the smoke of the year? The old Maurice Rocket Richard trophy, we'll call it the Rocket of the Year.
This one, I thought there was a clear winner. I don't know if it's because my feed was showing it to me, but she was in and around the media and in some movies recently. It's going to Sydney Sweeney. And, you know, people know her from her set. You know, everyone's like, she's got nice boobs. But you know what? She's like Giannis. She's like if Giannis added a jump shot. And I saw this tweet. There's a bunch of pictures of her ass. And she's bringing some game back there too. So
I got a dump truck. Yep.
Yeah. So this guy tweeted out, this is like if Giannis added a jumper.
Imagine if Giannis had the full package, the full Nelson.
So Sydney Sweeney, you are the smoke of the year for sure. You had all the buzz. You had an unbelievable year. Well done to you. Well done. Keep looking good. I know, you know, I kept seeing all those tweets about those guys, you know, being carted off the field. And they'd throw out those memes after they'd see a picture of her and stuff, just all time stuff. You're putting the fellas on the floor, Sydney Sweeney.
That she is. So the Maurice Rocket Richard trophy goes to none other than Sydney Sweeney. Those memes are all time. I feel like I see like 40 of them a day, probably because my Explore page is just filled with sets and Sydney Sweeney. So anyways, moving right along to the next award, Azo. And that is the Sleepy Joe Tempur-Pedic Sleep of the Year Award. That goes to the best sleep or the best knockout of the year in boxing, UFC, and or it could be in hockey as well. But the sleep of the year, the Sleepy Joe Tempur-Pedic Sleep of the Year goes to Max Holloway's KO on Justin Gaethje. For the folks that remember that fight, it was in the dying seconds, the dying minutes. Both of the fellas, absolute nail guns, bull rush to the middle of the octagon, duked it out. Holloway obviously putting Gaethje's chin to sleep, but that was an iconic fight of the year. UFC is in the best spot it's ever been, one of the most fun, just barbaric gladiator sports ever imagined, and it's just taking off with what Dana White is doing and just the characters inside of the UFC. Sugar Shane Oferta, who is O'Malley, an awesome guy. But this one, the Sleepy Joe Tempur-Pedic Sleep of the Year, goes to Max Holloway because he put Gaethje's chin night Irene. So Ozzo, what's the next one we got here?
Yeah, we're gonna go on to the Wade Boggs Piss Tank of the Year award, and this winner, he might have won the award for the past 20 years, Jordan. I mean, I think he's going 20 years consecutive winning the Wade Boggs Piss Tank of the Year. It's going to be our boy Johnny Daly. Johnny Daly, nicely done, fella. You're the piss tank. You're the Wade Boggs Piss Tank of the Year. And you know what? After your maybe after you're deceased, hopefully in 30, 40 years, Johnny, this award's going to be named after you, fella.
Unbelievable. I mean, just, what he's put together. We always talk about body of work over here, your portfolio, something you can hang your hat on. I don't know if you caught that Breaking 50, Ozzo, with John Daly and Bryson DeChambeau, who puts it on. But Daly said he woke up at 7 a.m. and by the time the middle of the round, I think they were on hole 7, said he was 20 deep. And he has about 20 to 30 drinks a day. He has 5 tall glasses of chocolate milk, Hershey's syrup squirted in for 6 seconds. He holds it every time. He has north of 4 packs of smokes, and he's still alive. And his joke he always goes back to is like, it's a great day, brother. Got to be blessed. We're lucky out here. Hell, I'm still alive. Like, how is that guy still alive? Some of those people that just take care of their body.
He's such a piss tank.
Yeah, like how is he alive?
A guy like me who is maybe 1/8 of a piss tank of John Daly, if I did what he does, I would be dead at the age of 24.
100%. It doesn't make any sense how this guy is still functioning and able to play golf, but he's just that country boy from Arkansas, and I think that's all of his body knows. And if he were to shut it off and go sober and cold turkey, I bet he would have a jammer within the first 48 hours.
100%. He's got to keep it going now.
100%. Ozzo, the last one we maybe wanted to give out was the She's Out of My League Award. And you had written down here, we obviously had Danger Russ, the born-again virgin, Jeff Bezos with his wife Set. Paul Ledoux was in there too, the recently engaged man. Kip and Keller, shout out to her. Yeah. Kip and Ledoux is way too hot for Dewey Cox. And then we had Luke Combs too. So who do we want to give that one to? I just feel like Danger Russ, man. Like, how is he with Sierra? Like, Sierra was whacking Future before, and she probably just like couldn't.
Danger Russ is the winner to me. I know he didn't decide, but I'm picking Danger Russ because he has no business being with that woman. Just with who he is. I don't know how he did it, but God damn it, Russ, you're doing something right, man, because you got that girl, and I don't think you're her level. She's out of your league, brother.
No, she went full panic. She's like dating the guy, married to the guy, was dating Future. Obviously, he's not committing, but then she goes to the total opposite type of dude, right? She's just seen that lifestyle. Okay, I got to run for the hills. Now I go to the guy that is like a white dude, but is black. So I go to Danger Russ, the born again, and she is way too hot, way too cool. And she's probably just put on a little bit of an act too to try to convince herself.
She has to be.
That this guy is the right guy for me after what went down with Future. So I would say that is probably the winner there, Ozzo. And I agree with you. Dewey Cox coming in a close second. Intro of the year at Live in 5 for the Player Prize Awards. We both agreed on this one. We thought the first Bennington episode, I think it was episode 4 or 5, where actually producer, old friend Jack Mason put together an unbelievable montage video, had it synced up with the Chicago Bulls like we obviously do every show. We just thought that one, the first Bennington with the Stanley Cup, do you think I'm nervous? All that just leading into the intro was the best intro of the year. My personal favorite, though, I kind of like spitting these bars lately, Ozzo. I don't know. I really like putting together like
I know those were
it was a little and throwing the bars on there.
Yeah, I know. I like those bars too. I mean, the Chicago Bulls intros, they've hit every time. Jordy, you've done an unbelievable job at those. But these bars are nice too, and I wanted to throw one of those on there. I just thought it was a little too recent.
Yep. No, I agree with you. And the last thing I wanted to shout out was Aunt Edwards wearing that "if she doesn't hawk Tua, I don't want to talk to a" shirt. I mean, that it's not a quote of the year, but a guy wearing a shirt or a piece of merch of the year, I would say goes to Aunt Edwards. I love how he cocks his hat. He's honestly in the running for a Fernando Rodney, like,
Yep.
icon in terms of how he wears his hat.
Yep.
Obviously, Rodney's straight left, but Edwards, he's got that thing just fucking cocked up there. It's like, I don't give a fuck. This thing's barely on my head. If it falls off, I'm not even going to stop to pick it up, because I got 300,000 more of these 5950s, and I'll go back to the crib and I'll put one on. So have a nice fucking day, folks. That is what it is. But Ozzo, that wraps up our first year award ceremony. I thought we gave out some great awards. I think people will laugh. I think a lot of them are funny. They're creative. And it was a lot of fun putting them together with you because I think we have some good shit on there, bro.
Good names for the awards, too. I love the names. And, yeah, just a lot of good memories over the past year. And obviously getting to talk to these legendary people who make the time for us is all time. I think we even talked to, I think it was the Drager episode. I pulled over. I was driving from Forks to Minneapolis, and I pulled over in a Taco Bell parking lot and did it from the back seat of my car. So that was just Drager probably thought we were absolute idiots, and I probably looked like one, but that was all time.
Yeah, I know. And I obviously appreciate you always making the time to get them done in between the mini movers hours. I don't think people really know what Ozzo goes through to make this happen. Usually a lot of the times, especially with our bigger names, they kind of give us, an hour or two on a random Tuesday or Thursday. And I'll usually just fire it to Ozzo like, hey, can we have this person come on then? Yep, I'll make it work. And whether it's outside of a Taco Bell in the back of a pickup, you've done a couple.
Or from the office.
In the office, you've done one in a moving truck. You've sprinted home a few times. It's always just funny how it comes together. But, as a couple assholes talking it out, a couple guys that, play together at North Dakota and our dear friends, it's pretty cool just to get to talk to people, because it's always better when both of us could be on there. It really is.
For
it's
sure.
Just, two minds and two chins are always way more fun. We can chop it up with our guests. And, yeah, man, here's to another year, and we got to get more in-person touches. I think we'll have to talk about that going into year 2, but we'll make it happen. And it's been fucking awesome. So we all obviously appreciate all 2,000, 3,000, whatever, how many 4 people listen. Who knows? It might just be both of our moms and our agent. Who knows who's listening to this thing? But it's we always appreciate the people listening. Even for a pigeon level startup podcast, Ozzo, it's pretty cool when people come up to us or me myself and say, hey, I love the show. I mean, I was on the ice literally on Monday with a couple kids that play juniors. I was out there with my cousin and Nick, and I'm mid drill. We're doing Canada Cup, and he looks at me, he's like, "Swish, fella, love the pod." I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, buddy. I'm up next." But it's just like 17-year-old kid or whatever it is. So it's pretty cool and humbling, and just it's cool just to chop it up with you, because this is what we do every day, or we did every day, and it's
and I think people will think. I think when people watch our some of our clips, or if they listen to an episode, they probably think we're a bunch of dumbasses, which we kind of are. But, this is kind of who we were growing up. And obviously we don't want it to go away. We think, you can be yourself, you can be funny, no matter who you are. And I think we want some of the younger kids coming up to know that, you can still, be this way and live this life and, still have fun, but also take care of business at the same time. And I think that's kind of the goal of this podcast is just, you can still have fun and be cool and laugh and be funny, but also at the same time, take care of business.
Absolutely. I mean, AC/DC, we talked about it last show. It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, baby. And that's just is one way to kind of get it started and still keep being you and stay in your lane and find your way in it. And again, it's not illegal to laugh, and it's not illegal to talk about things that are funny. Don't ever lose that humor side of you. Always be thinking of new jokes, especially if you're in a locker room or even just, lightening up the mood, Ozzo, right? So that's what we try to bring to people when they're driving, they're in the locker room, they're hanging out at home. It's laughs, it's stories, it's all of that. And it's not just hockey. Sometimes we like to talk about the NBA.
We don't just like hockey. Yeah. We like a lot of things, and whatever's cool is cool. And that's what we like. We like things that are cool, that we think are cool. And then that's the same thing as like, there might be people who see this and they're like, these guys are idiots. What are they doing? They're stupid. This ain't for you. And we're not trying to impress you either.
No.
We really, quite frankly, don't give a shit about you.
No, you're an absolute hardo. And again, thank you for listening for the one time you did. Keep moving, baby. Keep moving. So that's exactly what we're going to do, Ozzo. And again, always great snapping it with you. I think the people will hopefully enjoy this. No guests this week. It's just straight live in 5. It's the Player Prize Award. So Ozzo, as always, Cap, it's D to D. It's tape to tape. I don't even have to look. It's across that blue line, right on the blade. I know it's back to me.
You know where I'm at.
Yeah, it is, baby. So that is episode number 52, the Live in 5 Player Prize Awards. Folks, as always, thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Fellas and lady.